Man, welcome to the Greenhills kitchen.
Yeah, right. Thank you so much.
Could you please tell us your name?
My name is Jacqueline Krebs Noble.
Nice to meet you, Jackie.
Nice to meet you.
When did you move to Greenhills?
Mom and Dad originally moved here in 1938. We were here until, I guess I was about 6 years old. And then we moved to Kentucky for a year and then back to Greenhills. So, and I've been here ever since.
So before you moved to Greenhills, you lived in Kentucky, right?
No, we lived in Greenhills, moved to Kentucky, and then back to Greenhills. And then back to Greenhills, yep.
So why did your family move to Greenhills? And why did they move out?
You know, I've never asked that question of my parents. I think, if you want to know the truth, I think my father wanted to get as far away from Price Hill as he could, which is where my mother was from. And we moved out because they separated. And then we moved back when they got back together. And we were back, within a year and a half or so.
Okay.
And been here ever since we moved.
So, could you tell me where did your family live before you moved to Greenhills?
Price Hill.
So,
Yeah.
what was that house look like?
Which house? The one in Price Hill? I have no idea. I was only 2 years old. I've been here off and on since I've been 2 years old.
Have your parents told you something about your original residence?
No, not really. No, they didn't talk much about it at all because our whole life was centered here. I have had 2 brothers and a sister, and this was just our whole family out here, and we were the only ones that were out here. Well, no, I can't say that either because my aunt and uncle lived out here at the time too. My dad's brother and sister.
Tell me about your family. What did your father do?
My father was a union printer, and he was so proud of that. And all his life until retirement, he was a printer. Mom was always a homemaker. That's the way you did it in those days.
Is your mom like the life in the greenhouse? Is she always complaining about the kitchen things, you know?
She always loved Greenhills. She always loved it because it was the home for the 5 of 6 of us, I guess. Also, Dad would go to work, come home and go to bed. There was no question about it. But Mom, yeah, we were all the center of her universe and she was ours.
What was your house in Greenhills like?
3-bedroom, upstairs, downstairs, full basement, nice yard. We've lived in, this is the third house in Greenhills. We lived on Bachman when we first moved in. Then we lived on Burley. And then when the village sold to the residents, we moved to Andover. And they were all pretty much the same. 3-bedroom, stairs to get upstairs, stairs to get downstairs.
Which part of the house you like most?
Me? The backyard. We weren't in the house people. We were outside people. You know, Mom had opened the door and 3 of us, my younger brother did go out, but we were outside. And we lived in a unit that had 6 houses. And there were 21, I think I counted 21 kids in that unit. So, you know, we didn't have to go anywhere to find somebody to play with.
Which place you frequently go to have fun, to play with your friends?
When I was a kid?
Yeah, when you was a kid.
I said in the backyard. We had plenty of rooms, 6 houses, long backyard. Nobody had fences, and there were enough of us to play there, and kids our age. Each one of us had kids our age there. That's one of the nice things about Greenhills. I miss it now. I don't see the hordes of kids playing like I used to, or like I remember. We all played together. We played the street. We played wherever we wanted. People didn't have cars in those days. We're going back to the 30s and early 40s, and people didn't have cars. So everybody was outside doing what they had to do and riding the bus to and from work and wherever. was a different place. It was, I don't know how to explain it, but it was, we were our own, like our own little country, you know? We didn't have to go anywhere. You had to get on a bus if you wanted to go see a movie, or get on a bus if you wanted to go downtown. About 40 minutes and you were downtown. It was easy. And the bus service was great. So everything was great about Greenhills. I've been here, let's see, this is going to 79 years. I'm 81 years old. Yeah, I'm sold on Greenhills. I have a big field behind my house now where the kids play baseball and they play football and they play everything under the sun back there. No playground, you know, with swings and all that stuff. We had that when I was a kid. But it's always full of kids back there. The sounds in the summer just take me back to listen to little kids playing and having a good time. It's Greenhills.
So you all go back to visit Greenhills every summer?
I live here. I'm not going anywhere. And my daughter and my granddaughter and my great-grandson live here. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 generations of us living here now. And I'm not going anywhere unless I go feed first.
What comments and what complaints from your doctor or your granddaughter about the Greenhills? Is it like the Greenhouse life? I don't know, and really I don't care. If they don't like it, they can go. Isn't that awful? But they can go. This is my home, and I'm staying, and they can do what they want to do. Well, my great-grandson is almost 19. He's old enough if he wants to move. Yeah.
But I don't intend to go anywhere.
The place for them just a place to live, to have a night, but for you it's all the life.
Yeah.
Let's jump back to the childhood game. Could you please tell us, did you play mostly with your own gender or in mixed groups?
Mixed groups?
Mixed groups.
Yeah.
What kind of game you play?
Well, we played football.
Football.
We played kickball. We keep away. And what's the one where you try to throw it and hit each other? Dodgeball. Dodgeball. We were great at dodgeball. And we'd get up any team you wanted to. If you wanted to play baseball, we could arrange that too. I was lucky. My dad was a coach and a manager for the Printers baseball team. So we had all the equipment. We had gloves, we had bats, we had balls. So, you know, they had to play with us or not play with the stuff many a time I took my football and went home.
Is there many girls just like you to participate in these sports?
Sure. Yeah, there were a lot of them. There were a couple of them, that lived right to us, a circle, and you lived within that, and you were part of that, and there were kids within hollering distance of me that, yeah. And I had 4 kids on this side, I had 2 on this side, and then 5, and then 2, and then 4 or 5 more. So we had a lot of kids you could play with, just with the neighborhood kids. And we used to do it at night. We had a cutter on grass, and the one man on the end had a nice big lot, and we'd play, what's that game where you run away from each other? He'd cut circles and stuff in his grass, and then we'd play in the circles where you had to stay in the circle and somebody else was trying to catch you. We'd play that at night. That was fun. Yeah, good game. We made up what we wanted to do, pretty much. You could always go down the woods and go fishing if you wanted.
Do you have any chance to participate the sports game, which held by the Greenhills?
The school?
Yeah, the school.
No, in those days, girls didn't have any opportunity. We had to play basketball and stuff at lunchtime. We weren't allowed on the basketball or any of those teams. You know, we had to. They let us play at lunchtime. We could do that, but no, I didn't. I didn't participate in. No, I didn't. Then I went to high school I did go to high school here. I went to high school down at St. X, commercial. Went down there so I could get out of school in a hurry. Just a 2-year course I needed to get out, get moving.
What activities in Greenhills do you still have remembered to participate in? Just like the religion worship, the sports you have already told us.
Yeah.
How about the religion worship?
The religion.
Yeah.
Again, OLR across the street was our church. I was Catholic. And again, they had boys sports teams. But you have to understand that back then, girls weren't allowed to do that kind of stuff. And they had the money for the boys, which was fine. And we could go be cheerleaders. We could go do that. But you couldn't participate in there. We're talking about way back in late 40s and early 50s, and it wasn't for girls in those days. And I'm not griping about it, I'm just stating the fact. I would have been right in the middle of it if I could have.
What locations in the village were most meaningful to you?
And swimming pool. The swimming
pool. Tell me some stories about the swimming pool.
Huh?
Tell me some story about the...
Oh, my heaven. Well, the four of us, there were 4 of us kids, and the lifeguards, we had 4 lifeguards, and when they picked a team, they wouldn't let any of us kids be on the same team. All we did was swim, and we were pretty good at it. So they separated us, and each guard took a kid. And I swam pretty well and won quite a bit. So did my brothers. And my sister went on to become part of the Coke team. That's my sister Judy. Make sure you say Judy in there.
That's fine. The swimming pool is open from June 1st to September 1st, right?
Yeah, around
Except that time, what else? What other activities you will do?
There was nothing else to do in Greenhills.
You
went to the swimming pool and you swam, you went to and the guards had, like I said, the guards each had their swimming team. And we practiced every morning and we swam in meets. And one gal, Wyoming had a team. And we had to swim, instead of swimming lengthwise of the pool, we had to swim crosswise. So it was only like 60 feet, 20 yards. And to swim 100, you had to make 4 turns to get that 100 yards in. But we had a meet one time, I shouldn't even say this, against a team from Wyoming, and there was one girl on there that was good. She was Connie Coughlin was her name. And now that goes back a while, that's 70 years plus, and I still remember it. And she almost got me that night, almost beat me that night.
Tell us about your friends.
Huh?
Your friends. Friends?
Oh, I had a lot of them, yeah. There were pretty much really close friends. Since I changed and went to a different high school, that cut down on a lot of the later friendships, but we kids in the neighborhood hung together and played together and ran together, and whatever there was to do, we did it together. And like I said, there were 21 of us in 6 houses. So there were plenty of us, boys and girls. One house had 5 girls. They didn't have any boys at all. But, so we pretty much, you didn't have to go look for things to do. You could always make up your own mind what you were going to do. And I guess we did dumb things. I don't know. We did, just kid things. And I know big thrill was when one of the neighbors would need something from the grocery store, and we'd run up the grocery store for him and get a nickel or a dime tip. And that was big news. So we were always, any of us were available for that. But as far as doing things, I guess if I think back on it, there wasn't a lot to do in Greenhills. If the swimming pool wasn't open, you were out of luck. But you always had friends, so you hung with your friends, you played with your friends. And I don't remember a lot of fighting. You know how girls are now, after you get two of them together and you bring the third in and oh my God, there's a fight. We didn't have that. We were just glad to have everybody. And they went from little kids to teenagers. And we just all hung together. You had to live here to know what I'm talking about, you know? You really do. And every month I'm reading more and more of people I know and people my age that are gone. And their memories are gone with them. But I've always, since day one, loved Greenhills. I don't know. And it's out here in the boonies. It's away from everything. And I mean, it's nothing now with everybody driving. But it used to be a 45 to 50-minute drive to get from here to downtown, get back home. And I worked downtown for a long time after I graduated high school at 16. And my dad let me I graduated in May, and he let me take off until my 17th birthday before I had to go to work. So I had a couple weeks to hang around the pool before I had to go to work. And then I went to work down at the Cincinnati Bell Telephone Company in the Treasury Department. And I worked down there for a couple years. It was a great job, but it was riding a bus down every morning, riding a bus home every evening. But it was fun. I met a lot of people that way. I got a lot of reading done. I'm a reader, so I got a lot of reading done. Yeah, pretty much it. I've never been bored with Greenhills. My family goes nuts. Oh, how can you put up with this all the time? Well, that's what I'm used to. And I kind of like it. I like the quiet. I like being able to go out, sit in my yard with my dog, and watch the kids play in the backyard, in the field behind us, the Palmer Park. That's what's behind us, Palmer Park. That's important to put that in here. I don't know if you've talked to any of the Palmers yet, but they're great people. Mike Palmer is, he was one of the, I don't know what you'd call him. He was just the man, and one of the men in Greenhills. He drove us around to things, and he was started things and held things together. A great person. Yeah, I don't know, I think the son's still around here. You need to put that name on your list if it's not.
What's that name?
Palmer. She'll get it. Okay. Palma.
How do you think Greenhills residents were alive politically when your family lived here? Even at the very beginning. You moved into Greenhills in 1938.
Yeah. I have no idea. I was so damn young. So darn young, I have no idea. Cut. They'll know it's me now. I was too young then to worry, and I have never really worried about political anything other than what went on here and who was running for office here in the village. That concerns me more than president or anything, a national or anything else. And I really don't care what Cincinnati does. It isn't going to be what I like anyhow, so who cares? But I just never really concerned with politics. I find it's easier that way.
Except for work, if you always or frequently go to the Cincinnati downtown?
Yeah.
For what?
Well, as I said, shopping. I worked downtown, so I was on the bus going to town every day. My mother was from Price Hill, and to get to downtown, get to Price Hill, you had to go downtown, catch a bus, and go up, or a streetcar in those days, and go up to Price Hill. So was part of our trips. My other grandmother lived over in Kentucky, over in Newport, but she died when I was fairly young, and I didn't have grandparents over there, so we weren't over there often. Other than off the record here, my dad and I ran around together. My dad, he dragged me everywhere, and we'd take these, no, I shouldn't even say, take these trips on Saturday. We'd get on the bus and we'd go downtown, or else I'd go downtown and meet him where he worked on Saturday. Then we'd get another bus and we'd go over to Newport, Kentucky, and meet his father and brothers, and we'd visit all the bars in Newport. I'm serious. I had my own table. You go sit over there, and I'd get my roast beef sandwich and a Coke, and he and Grandpa and the uncles would be up at the bar having their beer, and usually end up in a fight. Then we get the bus and come back home, or two buses and come back home. I guess I did have a pretty good life. Yeah.
I think for you must have a secret base in Greenhills or in Greenfield. Did there have any private place you most like to go just for yourself?
Just
in Greenhills, yeah.
In Greenhills?
Mm-hmm.
Truthfully, I like my backyard, because when the kids are out there, it sounds like taking me back 60 or 70 years to when we were all making noise and having a good time. And I also, I walk up to the store. I ride to the store. I don't walk anywhere anymore. I ride up to the store, and I like I miss Gills. I don't know if you know about Gills, but I miss Gills. I don't even know what he called it, but he had everything in there. And if he didn't have it, he could get it for you by Tuesday. Everything was, I'll get it for you by Tuesday. And he would. He'd figure out a way to get it for us by Tuesday. But it was just I don't know what you want to call it. I called it a junk shop. But yeah, I love Gills. But other than that, other than the swimming pool, no, I had a pretty solitary life. In the summertime, I lived for the swimming pool. And in the wintertime, I like the radio. I like to read, so I don't mind being alone by myself. That's not being alone by yourself if you got a book or a dog. And I always had a dog.
Susan, you moved in Greenhouse in 1938.
Mm-hmm.
From now, it's already 80 years. 80 years.
Well,
What's the difference between the initial time from now? You think the Greenhouse? Do you think Greenhouse changed in this decade?
Absolutely. For one thing, the people have changed. We were all, excuse me, in those days, we were all on the same boat. Nobody had any money, or you couldn't live here. In fact, I was fascinated the first time I saw somebody being moved out of Greenhills because they made too much money. But I think that was it. We're all on the same basis. Nobody had any more than anybody else. Oh, occasionally if somebody had a car or a newer bike or something, but we were all pretty much the same. And had a good time being that way, I think. It was a good way to live. And I mean, here I am with this is now 4th generation here. And I wouldn't still be here if I wasn't happy with Greenhills or happy with the way things are and the people. And occasionally you think, I'd like to see this or that some other city has, but no, leave us alone. We're fine out here. I think we are anyhow. I know a lot of people gripe about it. Like, I'm not real happy that they've torn down those houses over on Cromwell behind me. I'd like to see that one plot where 2 apartment buildings were taken down. I'd like to see that a great big park for the kids with everything under the sun for the kids to play in. It'd be great, but we can't afford it, and I know that. That, I think, is the one thing, if I could change Greenhills, it would be the fact that I'd like to find a pot full of money for the village so that we could do the things we'd like to do. That's it. I'm happy here, extremely happy here.
Is the swimming pool still open in the summer?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And it was just remodeled last year, and it's great. It's like a whole new pool, yeah. Well, I go down to the Y to swim in the wintertime, so I'm still swimming or go down there for water aerobics. But I do like the water. Yeah.
Greenhouse was built as an experiment based on cooperation or socialist principles.
Yes.
How do you think that played out in people's mind?
I don't think the people that lived in the village even thought about it. I don't think they even thought about it being socialist or anything else.
So
it was just our home.
there's no ideal propaganda?
Propaganda?
Yeah, showing your life.
Not that I know of. Not that anybody would talk to me about. They wouldn't bother me with propaganda against Greenhills. No. Ooh, I might see how I can still fight.
As you think, what's the difference between live in greenhouse and out of greenhouse? The greenhouse community and other communities around greenhouse.
I have never lived in another community. I know they have a lot more trouble than we have. Take Mount Healthy, for instance. They have an awful lot of trouble down there, and the township right down below us is starting to have a lot of trouble. And, I shouldn't even say things like that, but it's the truth. It's the kind of stuff you don't read in the newspaper. But I think we've always been pretty darn lucky here. We had good police force, friendly police force. I don't know. There's nothing in the world I'd do to change it. None. I don't. Other than make that nice big park over there.
Greenhouse was a planned community.
Yes.
Do you think it was used as the planner intended, or do you think the plan worked?
I'm still here. There are other people here that are still here, that were here back in the day. Yeah, and it's still here. I mean, I see it changing now. The village is changing now. But that's happening everywhere. But if the powers that be keep their thumb on things here, I think we can stay the way it was intended. I do love it.
Well, the house is well designed. I believe the backyard is the most place which make you satisfied. But which part of the house you most unsatisfied with? You want to change it?
I have to think about that a minute. Right now, I could take the kitchen out and not miss it a bit. And I have a big kitchen. My husband was a contractor, and he remodeled ours and made me a nice big kitchen that somebody else can have. The thing I like best about it, I can't pick anything that I liked best about it. I just love the whole thing about it. I know what I like least about it, all the steps. We had to put up one of those carrier things in the steps. We have all the 12 steps going upstairs and stuff like that. And that's inconvenient. But other than that, no, I can't complain about it. And the rooms are small. Nothing is big in Greenhills, in the old section of Greenhills, and that's where I am. The rooms are all small. They're not great big rooms. We took one of our bedrooms and made a bathroom, made it into a bathroom, so it's a nice big bathroom. I don't know what you're going to do with it, but it's there. We use it, but I don't know. I don't think I have a favorite place in the house. I just love being in Greenhills. I absolutely love Greenhills. It's no doubt about it.
Which part is you most like living in Greenhouse? What kind of things you most like living here in Greenhouse?
What don't I like? Actually, I'd have to think about that for a while because there's just, look at where we are. We're in the middle of a park. We're sitting here all by ourselves in the middle of this park. We've got everything a grocery store. Oh boy, we could use a grocery store again. But other than that, I like it the way it is.
I understand that you like it because you're familiar with it, with this greenhouse, with the community.
I think I'm pretty familiar with it. I don't know. With what I want to know, I'm familiar with.
As you know, how many people still live in Greenhouse? I mean,
That I know?
yeah.
That's kind of a touchy subject because, like I said before, every month I'm seeing more and more names in the paper that I don't like seeing because we're just getting old. But I do see second and third, fourth generation people here that I know that if their parents were still here, they'd still be here. But the kids are here, their grandkids are here. Quite a few. But I'm not much of a joiner. I'm not into this organization, that organization, and another one. I just never have been. We raced cars at the tracks for quite a while, quite a number of years, quite a lot of money. And I think that kept me from joining a lot of things and kept me out of a lot of things. But I thoroughly enjoyed it while we were doing it. My son was our driver, and he drove all the tracks around here. But I'm not much of a joiner to be joining organizations or getting involved in a lot of things. I kind of keep to myself. I like my swimming. I taught swimming down here for, I guess, 20 or 30 years and helped coach the swimming team at times down there. Up until, well, I guess about 5 or 6 years ago, I just decided that I'd had enough of it. Hell, I was over 70 years old. It was time to let somebody else take over. But I still see families of kids that I taught swimming. That was my main, and I taught in the wintertime too, but not down there, different places. So that was pretty much my life. It's really, when I think about it, and I'll probably read, and I'm going to be bored stiff reading, oh, Lord have mercy, why didn't you do something? But I did what I wanted to do. I think that was the biggest part of Greenhills. I was free to do what I wanted to do, as long as I stayed within certain boundaries. And I did, most of the time. Most of the time.
Is there any friends in your young time go back to visit you in Greenhouse?
Actually, I do have lunch with some of them, some of the people sometimes. Yeah, we meet for lunch and gossip sessions. There's one group that had I gone to Greenhills, I would have graduated with, that we meet every 3 months on Thursday. And the number varies to who's mobile and who's up and moving around at our age. Some of them aren't, a couple of them. One of them's from Indiana, another one's from Kentucky. So they're I keep in contact with them. We have every time we meet, there's something new. And these are names that you probably should have on your list too, some of those people. I'll give it to you before we leave. So.
Thank you. Let's jump to the horses. When you're 6 years old, you moved into the Greenhills. And yeah.
And then we came back when I was about 7.
Do you have any memory about World War II?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, You said that, and the first thing I see is my mother getting the margarine out of the refrigerator, popping the yellow thing, and we had to mix it with our hands. Oh, it was in plastic. It was in plastic. And a little yellow bubble was there, and you'd break that, and then you'd mix the white stuff until it turned into margarine. That was, well, you couldn't get butter.
Well, every housewife do that in Greenhills.
If they wanted to have butter on their toast. That's the way you bought it, unless you knew a farmer and you could go get butter and stuff from the farmer. Yeah, if you bought it at the store, that's where you bought it. I can't even remember the name of it now. Yeah, I remember that very well. I can just see my mother. I'm up on Burley, standing there at the sink, popping that and giving it, here, mix this. So we'd mix it. It's crazy. See, the things I remember are just little bits and pieces, but they're so vivid in my mind. My dad was too old to be drafted, but he did go to airplane school up at Dayton. Dad didn't get married until he was 30, so you know, by the time the war hit, he was too old to do it. But he did try. And other things, I remember coal. You couldn't buy coal. You couldn't buy. It was the things you couldn't get, but we were never without. You know, we never did without, but a lot of things were rationed. And I know my mother and the neighbors, the gals would get together and they'd trade their ration stamps with each other. Like, Mom was a coffee drinker. Our next door neighbor was no coffee drinker, so she had things she could trade there. And bread was one of the things that she'd trade for because we were awful bread eaters. And toast, we loved toast. Toast was our breakfast every morning. Toast, and yeah, and we all drank coffee. I'm still a terrible coffee drinker, so I think that's what's wrong with me now. I only had one cup this morning. But as far as the war affecting us out here, no, not me personally. Of course, I didn't lose my father. I didn't lose any brothers or anything like that. And we had, I know all the neighbors that lived on the first street we lived on. I know everybody that was over on Burley. By that time, the war was over, though. But I can't say that it really affected me. Too dumb, you know. Luckily, I think I was young enough that, and my brothers and sister were younger than I was, so it didn't bother them either. We just lived through it, and that's the way it was. We were good kids for that's the way it is, and you deal with it. And nobody said deal with it. You just knew you had to deal with it. That's it. That's all.
Did any man you know go to the war?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
In Greenhills?
Oh, yeah.
Could you please tell me his name or?
Oh, there were a lot of them. There were a lot of them that went in the service. Right now, I'm drawing a complete blind.
How many of them? More than two?
I'd say, my age, around my, well, yeah, that I knew. Sure, there were at least 8 or 9 of them that went. Yeah.
How were men impacted once they returned? What's the reaction of the war, or was it performance after they?
Nobody, around me it wasn't discussed. It just, we had other things to do. We were happy to see them, happy they did what they had to do, but it didn't personally affect me other than the way we lived.
Do you still have the memory that if the Greenhills community holds some celebration for their return?
I believe so. Oh, no, we always do. We have certain celebrations all year long, and they never change.
For what?
For Memorial Day, 4th of July, those kind of things. But as far as, I don't remember. I honestly don't remember.
Okay.
But everything was held out there on the commons, right there in the commons.
How did the Cold War impact people in Greenhills?
The Cold War?
Yeah, the Cold War. Was there a feeling of fear?
I don't think so. Again, we were out here, we were insulated, and we didn't, it didn't affect us. Nothing, I can't see that any of this affected us, the war or anything. We lived the life we had to live. This is what you got, this is what you get, live it and shut up. And that's what we did. It just...
But did people build bomb shelter or something?
Some I think did. Some I think did. I know my dad would. We had a nice big basement. And I know Mom did take foodstuffs and paper goods down there and things like that. But as far as building a bomb shelter, I want to tear my yard up for that. No. No, we just, sitting here, we just thought we were safe. Somebody would take care of us. I don't know who, but somebody would.
I believe since you always live here,
Yeah.
still live here, you must have many keepsakes.
Oh, no, no, I really don't. No, I was never, our houses are small. We don't have big closets. You've been in houses, haven't you?
Yeah.
Okay, then you know we don't have big closets. We have big basement. My basement right now is, I got 4 generations of junk down here. But the houses were small. There wasn't room to save a lot of keepsakes and things like that. I have these sticking magnets all over everything. But as far as keepsakes, no, I don't have a lot.
Are there things you miss about growing up in Greenhills? Are there things you miss most about growing up in Greenhills? The swimming pool, that's one thing.
What?
I mean, you miss most.
What I miss most? I can't, I don't think Greenhills has changed that much, other than the people who have moved into it.
Why? Why you don't think it's not changed?
Why haven't they changed?
Uh-huh.
Because we like it the way it is, I guess. I don't know. But I just don't think the village has changed that much.
Okay.
I really don't. Like I said, other than the people that, some people that move in that were a little different than what we were used to, but you know what? Who cares? There's room for all of us. That's it. So I can't say that there's anything that I really miss except my ability to walk around like I used to. I walked all my life, and now I couldn't walk from my house to the grocery store without sitting down and having a cup of coffee and a drink to get moving again. But no, I love the village, or I wouldn't be here. There are too many places to move to if you want to go, but I don't want to go. I don't want to go.
Is the drugstore still open?
The drugstore?
Uh-huh.
No.
When they close?
Oh, Lord, I don't know. It's been gone a long time, but that and the grocery store both, we had, I think it was an A&P, and they're gone. And they've been gone a long, long time. I just said the other day to my daughter, I can't remember what it was. I think it was a drugstore. Gee, I wish we still had a drugstore up here. But I can remember, oh God, my dad would send me off with my 25 cents for mass in the morning for the throw in the kitty, and I'd take my 25 and go up to the drugstore and have a sundae or a soda. Then feel bad about it because the change would be burning a hole in my hand because I didn't do what I should have with it. I'm not a nice person.
Do you mind if I ask a question?
Go ahead.
When asked what's changed, you mentioned that at the beginning, when everyone was moving here, that everyone's income was about the same by design. right?
We thought so, you know,
yeah.
it seemed like it.
Yeah. When and how do you think that really changed?
When and how?
Whatever you remember.
Yeah, I'm trying to think when that would have changed. I have no idea when it did, but it just happened gradually. And like I said, I can still see it. You're putting all these pictures in my head.
Let's hear 'em.
I remember the day the people across the street from us were kicked out of the village because they made too much money. Well, kicked out, that's not a nice way of putting it. Were asked to leave because they made too much money. And couldn't understand that. What are they talking about? I thought, I know, we didn't think about money when we were kids. You either had it or you didn't. If you didn't, you said, no, I can't do it. If you did, you did it. But I don't remember when that changed. I really don't remember when it changed. It just wasn't important.
What did the change look like, though, if you could put that into words at all?
Okay. The houses were built. The Damon and up here in Gambier and the F and G blocks. The looks of the houses, and of course the people that moved into those had more than we had, than the rest of we on the other side. It's always been Winton Road's a dividing line. You either live on this side or this side, and we live on that side. And we were all bad, but I remember when some of the people around us started making more money and having more things. Of course, when you're a kid, you always want what the kid next door has. And mom and dad says no. Well, you don't understand why, but no. And then you figure it out, well, because you can't afford it. But I don't really know. Don't really know. Like I said, I must have been so self-contained in those days that I was more concerned about myself than I was about what was going on around me. That's it.
Is there anything you'd like to add that we haven't talked about?
Oh, no. If you've got questions, I'll answer questions for you, but I think we pretty well covered it. It just, I had a great childhood here in the village. I wouldn't still be here if I wasn't completely happy here. And I have no intention of leaving right now. I got a couple properties over on Greenhills that my husband saw to before he died. And my family's here. And the rest of my family is within reaching distance. My son's down on Fleming Road. And my daughter's up in Fairfield, so they're both close. So no, I guess I'm still self-contained because I'm real happy here in Greenhouse.
Actually, I got the last question is unsuccessful question. I asked for my interviews, but they all gave me a simple answer. It's a question about the general impression of the greenhouse. If let you use a color to describe your life in greenhouse, what kind of color do you like in your childhood?
What kind of color do I like? Red.
Red.
Uh-huh.
Why?
Because it's bright. Because I always had jet black hair, and I always looked. The combination, the contrast was good. I'm serious. I'm dead serious. The contrast was good. Blue, it's okay. But red just kind of jumps out at you. I like it.
Is that color changing for now?
No. I don't know what I'm doing in this. I passed up my red sweater and jeans for a dress to look half civilized. I'm serious.
Thank you, ma'am.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. This was painless. Y'all do a great job with this.
Thank you.